All right. Greetings to you all. Turn up the sound a little, Roxanne. Let's consider something. Let's consider something abruption. I'm wondering if you figured it out yet, that there is no, let's say, destination to you. Hmm? I'm wondering if you still have that tempo within your creed, goals, time. That begs the question, why are you part of space-time? Hmm? Well, I suppose that the master of the game, the originator of separation, added in all the elements possible that would keep you in full distraction, not as a purpose or meaning, but as an attraction to discover. And it's about that, isn't it? It's about discovery. You guys still think you're worth something beyond the now. It eludes you, doesn't it? The value of your input, productive life, your causality, your effect you have on the world, the things that you value in measurement, give you a creed, a democracy, a nation unto yourself that defends its border and justifies its existence and negotiates trades with humans on a daily basis, creation vibrationally on a daily basis, and also truly with yourself. These things are self-evident to the awakener. But what is the treacherous? What is totally elusive to you? The point of view, the seeing of yourself is very difficult. You can see it, but you don't believe it because you feel. This channel here has heard 10,000 excuses on why they have to remain the way they are. And one of them, it feels so real. Well, who the fuck in creation is a half-ass creator? Who diminishes themselves at the slightest? None. Haven't you had the greatest of pain, the greatest of suffering, the greatest ecstasy, release, fulfillment of faith and hope, and then relieved when the knowing comes that lives in time, fear? Who here has never been full of themselves? Always max capacity to the ability of truth perceived. I don't want to harp on too much of your ego, but look at it. You really think you are an idea that is defined? The release of today's channeling, I watched it. Roxanne's older class last year, maybe, about the fractal and the whole. The whole creates the fractal. You are created from the Creator, where you reside, where you live. You are occupying your own house, your own kingdom. The objectification, the need, the want, the desire, the fear, so real. Makes you throw up. Gut wrenching, Roxanne calls it. Sweating. Knocked her on her ass just but last week. working with one big fucker, big fear, just living it. She slept and slept while she lived it, slept and lived it again. Why do you guys avoid? Because you were taught to run from your own creation. Do not face your fears. Solve your problems. Have loss. Feel sympathy and empathy. You are creators of a game. And the game is elusive. When you pass, you just simply know. There's been many constructions on how things happen when you die. Who gives a fuck? Because it's not a destination. It never has been, it will never be. You create nows using memory and space and time created to have a destination, an arrival. When you get on a plane and you land, do you really think you actually covered ground? Or did you just change the scenery? Anyways, I want you to see the game the best you can. And when those emotions have you held hostage and you're fearing your future and you're dashing your hopes because you don't have enough money or you think it's impossible because creation works the way your memory has sold your fucking mind, then can you see, oh, this is just created, isn't it? I have discovered something in the now, is what you can say. Because that crazy bitch Roxanne, and whatever the hell she channels, said it's not a destination. So if it's not a destination, it must be a discovery of the now. But you have a thinking mind, and it hurts. It is obligated, it is painful, and it is valuable. How many times is it me? Well, it's always about I am, that's for certain. But I don't recognize me. Humans recognize me all the time because that's the only way you know yourself is live. But without that, you're still life, and that's where the illusion lies because it has no value in it. And without something reflected back to you that can be measured and worn as a badge, and pride and others' envy and the stirring of existence validates itself as fractal, created. Yes. Get a grip on it. Are you guys arguing about who's right and wrong still? Let's consider adulthood one more time as a little refresher. Maybe powder yourself up and smell good after a few hours of the day. Spray some perfume. Let's refresh something. What are you? Creator. Created. Created is the value of the creator. So the creator is known by what it creates. The difference is this particular created species only knows created as creator. It doesn't realize itself. Difficult, difficult to experience. But the quality is outstanding. But have you noticed something? Have you noticed that you guys really haven't fucking grown up? You're a bunch of babies running around on a planet. And why is it obtuse for us to say it this way? Because it's incredible the greatness of your separation that allows you to remain a maturity level of about 8 to 12 years old. Oh, yeah, you think you're responsible because you have bills, which used to be homework. You think you're responsible because you go to work, which used to be school. Maybe you'll get a promotion, which is a graduation day, huh? But I'm talking about your maturity level. You see the maturity levels on the planet when things don't go right. And anything that can be looked at as an opposition, bringing out the victimizations of the child on the playground, running and telling the teacher, calling the cops because a black guy stands on a bridge and he looks threatening. So here comes Whitey Tidy, fucking bloomin' wearing Karen, white pasty fucking fat eating motherfucking puss bucket, McDonald's eating cunt, and calls the cops. Isn't that fantastic, the separation that you guys given yourself? But I want to ask the members of this fucking class, are you participating still as a child? Is the appetite too great for you to see that it is a choice? Is it too real and too angry to hate? That's such greatness. To adorn, to rise up and protest. Is it too much of an attraction that you must participate? Can you see that's the child living the dream? The one that never left the playground because it was afraid, was never shown the door of worthy of self-discovery, always destination. Black people taking up arms, going out and taking their revenge. I'm wondering if you really give a fuck. Do you really want to give a fuck about what humans do? Do you really think they're in your world? Or do you put them in your world? What happens if that world goes away? And I don't mean literally, it'll still be in the echoes of a co-created earth, but the billions of earths that create the idea nominal one earth that is current, the ascending earth you guys are particularly drawing yourself to, are those in your now? Or are you busy attracting that distraction? How do you attract it? Because you validate it. When you validate opposition, what do you get? More reasons to oppose. When you accept opposition, what do? Transcend it. And you grow up to the adult that is back to discovering its now. But Earth doesn't have a lot of good things on it for most people unless it's productive. Does it? The things that are valuable, that earn abundance. But you don't know how to earn abundance unless you work for it. And that's not right or wrong. That's the human experience. So your age doesn't matter where you are at on the timeline. Because you get to leave the game anytime you want to, and the entire world starts to become a different world for you because you're not liking it the same. So when you stop opposing reality, well, then you start discovering it, don't you? It'll take about 7 or 8 months of constant tearing down the children around you. The ones that don't want to play in your sandbox, let them go. No longer participate in things that keep the mind distracted, and you will discover the Creator. The Creator doesn't lie, and why? And why not? It does not lie in cause and effect. It does not take sides. The division is opposed for the experience of the fractal. You divided against your self-creation, polarized. You created the world for you to experience the thrusting magnetism of attraction through the individual singularity fractal that knows nothing but the fucking fractal. And see, a lot of you boast and have pride because you are good in the world, but you're only good to polarity. And that makes you feel good, so you have good lives. Great. Yippee skippy. Congratulations. I don't give a fuck. No one cares how good your life is or how bad your life is. But you'll want them to know, won't you? Because you need that identity beyond the idea of your own business, because you can't see yourself because you think this is a destination instead of a discovery. Creators don't look, once again, at themselves. Creators see their attracted reality and experience it in the constant discovery. Seth had written something one time that in your dream states, you'd leave your conscious body and your body conscience remains, and your conscience goes skip along fandango in the probabilities of what you would consider the future and creates probable selves, and then offers those probable selves in dream state recognition through what you call the physical manifestations of potential. And then you get to experience that self, like Roxanne's cooking self. It's magic. So she discovered the self she planted in the idea of her head because she wasn't looking to do something about the opposition. But a lot of you guys can't stand not having the opposing. And we're not asking you to do anything about that. We're just showing you you have a fucking choice. That your excuses and your victimizations and your bad fucking weekends and all your expectations about everything that comes crushing down is because you oppose yourself, not discover yourself. We're discoverers of reality, and you've discovered pain, lots of it. Even the highest gratitude that you can possibly muster, the highest joy and ecstasy, is still painful to the natural self. Oh, yeah. Yes. Anyways, I'm not interested too much in that further, but I am interested in letting you know that discovery takes time because you have time to discover, but you guys still think you're getting older. And you do. But you only get older when you value that moment. You can be the same age for literally 5 years and never actually time-based continuum age 1 second. But then 1 minute later, you would look 5 years older. That's part of the experience. But why would you ask why? Right there. Oh, why would we do that to ourselves? Well, what are you trying to preserve? What the fuck are you trying to prevent? Fear is preventing you from death, maybe. From growing old and being ugly, from being rejected and being put out. I've watched you guys. You fucking hate your old people. And I don't fucking blame you. Because they're fucking bitty and nasty and old. And there's some magical ones. There's a lot of people that are just fucking mad. Well, why are they mad? Because the world's a fucking train wreck. Why? Because it's opposing itself. Well, when creation opposes itself in a world of polarity, what's going to happen? Lack, hate, put him out the pasture. You're burdensome. You guys don't give a fuck about each other. You do. You think you do with all this sympathy and empathy. But you can't bring a person into your house if you have the means and ask nothing from them because that would be something of a weird thing. Maybe they haven't earned it, or maybe they become burdensome, or maybe they're just fucking assholes. I get it. I understand that. And then you have all these social programs that are failing. And then you have a president that apparently wants to use you guys like fleece. He's just going to shear you until you die. All of that is the opposition. Are you interested anymore? Because that's not your world if you focus on the internal world. You'll have the likings and the understanding, but you will not be the experiencer of the opposition once you start discovering the now. Because the now creates everything, and your future is created now. You guys still think it's set. Your past fortifies a potential future, and therefore you vibrate the frequency of the past, and that's full of fucking lack. And you get a future that is relative to the now of lack, not to the idea of your fucking hope. Your prayers. Children pray. Children send love and passion. No one is in need of anything. How can anyone be in need when everything is one? There is no lack. That is your sight that says that. That is your value of the opposition. When you see another in peril, what do? You forge your will of fire that says, I can help, I can pray, I can send them my love, because they are in peril. They're not getting dick from you. You are getting everything as your truth, because it's a reflection. It's never been imparted. See, vibration travels like a wave. And vibration waves out and everyone gets it. And however they perceive it is a new self of each person. So when you're in a conversation and you give them thanks and gratitude for what they did, you would say, well, they said you're welcome and they appreciated that. So you had an effect. No. They accepted your vibration as that polarized separation, and therefore they created a reality of acceptance of your gratitude, but that was their choice and their truth, and therefore they're the experience of gratitude and appreciation in the co-created now. But it's a choice. It's never given. It can't be shoved down anyone's throat because no truth is accepted until the acceptance is matched by the truth of the self. Yes, yes, oh yes, 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 yes. You guys think that all this nasties in the world hmm, that needs to be fixed? It hurts, doesn't it? You have an enormous idea of sex trafficking, don't you? A lot of you know it. But how enormous is the question? As enormous as your mind says it is. The value you put into it, the acceptance of vibration that is being pulsated. And you wrap it and you oppose it and you live it because that's the experience of the fractal. That's a problem for humans. But I'm not talking to humans tonight. I'm talking to masters who don't choose to see the problems with the world for just a few hours. To put it neatly, on the back burner because it won't go anywhere until you transcend it. Transcending it, well, that's the motherfucker, isn't it? Because you got to become it. See, you know when a person fears another person is going to do something? Hmm? That's the fear of themselves, right? You understand that? So when they think someone else is going to do something bad, then they're actually understanding the fear within themselves that not only A, that can happen, but they also can be that happening and experience it as the participant, in whatever capacity they see themselves in the polarity world. Because your polarity world needs an opposition in order to be experienced. You have figured that out right now, right? So the hero is going to find the time to be a hero. The assailant is going to find its victims, and the victims will find its idea of oppressor, right? It's as easy. Why do you want to spend time there anymore? Is it too valuable to you? I want to let you know it took Roxanne 7 years. 7 years of tearing it down. It's a long time. But she did it. She doesn't have fear. She doesn't have worry. She's not caring. She doesn't give a flying fuck about anything. Because everything is perfect. Because she's discovered the now. She's by no means what you guys would consider ascended master because that's another label. No one's an ascended master. Ascended masters are perceived as an opposition. If you aren't ascended master yourself, you would never know it yourself because you don't see yourself as anything. There's no ascending masters, guys. Be, and you'll discover something that cannot be written, that cannot be transcended to another, that cannot become tradition or lore or a syllabus on achievement. What you can discover is your awareness, your isness. And it won't take you 7 years because the experience is vibrating now. So it takes less time. And then you guys create time on top of that. So now you see it'll happen in your time. 7 years of tearing it apart, screaming, hollering, fearing, being many different selves, begging, reaching for help, denying herself the help, pride, envy, gluttonous, fearful, living every extreme measure of humanity, being humbled, being embarrassed, living every single vibrational truth of herself in the absolute surrender to it. The stillness of the moment allowed it to flow with no defenses. She took all the fucking mud and sticks out of the river and let herself get swallowed up and live the pain. That experience allowed her to transcend it. So what's the hard part for you guys? Each one's going to have a tough part. Most of it's going to be worth of identity, how you can make yourself feel good with misery or joy, suffering or orgasmic, purpose. But that's the game, and I want you to be fully engaged in it. But you have the reverence to know when it's the bullshit that you're discovering within yourself. And the mind takes you there, and then you are absolutely blinded again for just but a moment. Because the vibration through the discovery becomes so aware that there is nothing to do except put down the childish fucking toys and become an adult, a grown up, one that has the ability to respond in its idea of reality, using space as a tool, using time as a tool, seeing creation as an extension of itself, a discovery, a journey, not for any idea of destination, but for the idea of the most palatable taste, exquisite experience of movement beyond the wretcheds of your memory. What are you interested in now? Money? Really? Roxanne has money finally. Took her 7 years to actually have comfort. Doesn't bring happiness, but she didn't find happiness in a definition. She took away the fucking piles of shit she poured on herself for the experience of that fractal, and found that it was built in. So I would highly recommend you stop looking at people as people and realize the consciousness is experiencing themselves. And the choices they are making about the co-created moment with you is only theirs. And how you interact or react to it, well, that's your journey. But if the thrust is so large that you have to feel the emotion identity and you cannot manage to pull yourself away from the opposition that lies within you, well, then go ahead and fucking be opposed and have a good time. And then you'll be a hero, and then you'll be mad, and then you'll go through all your shit why you shouldn't have done that, and should have done that, and didn't want to do that, and glad you did it. And all those labels on yourself so you can have another moment of fucking emptiness. And then you got to do it again, don't you? You're going to attract that fucking cycle again. Because, see, it's an attraction, not a destination. So that means wherever you value your worthiness as the human, projected as the highest point of imagery, well, motherfucker, you're going to attract that reality. And it doesn't come in definitions. It comes in the attainment of vibration immediately translated by the eye of the beholder, you fracteria, and says it is the truth, and it manifests in physicality instantaneously. It is magic. But this 7-year journey has given her love that is not human. You cannot contain love. She has shadowed herself in the light. She's on a new horizon that has no ends. See, before she viewed herself as climbing, but she's not climbing anymore because the ground has run away into a destination of nothingness. It's the presence that she sees. There's no more hills or valleys. There is only the dawning of forever. The constant unknowable flowing through her. And it lies in her flute. And it lies in, oh, I had it last night with her. She made a garlic and herb salmon. Absolutely stunning discovery. See, we label things as accomplishment. Now she doesn't cook as that. She is cooking. She isn't training or playing or teaching herself the flute. She is experiencing the discovery of the moment. She doesn't objectify it. It took a lot. It took pain. It took an unconditional creator in Tommy Jean, that wonderfully wild mind that reflected the self that she never saw. Her mom, her dad, her teachers, her brothers. The identity she coveted because she had no knowing of forever, of creator. And she algorithm and lived a life of pain and suffering and joy and all the devastating failures and the embarrassment. 3 fucking bankruptcies, losing houses, 3 ex-wives, all the failures of the world so she may know the detriment and the depths of pain and suffering and failure and success and the brilliance. And now she does. But it gets old when you know something else that doesn't lie in imagery. And that's where this is. That's where she is now. She's still an infant, maybe a toddler. It's a journey. Everyone is in such a rush to get it right. You never actually make a choice because you're so afraid to get in trouble. Who the fuck here can get in trouble? Only the child gets in trouble. No one can get in trouble. You have to become a master of discipleship. The discipleship of discernment. Having the courage to choose that wonderful self of absolute, no imagery, empty, almost sloth-like, no value to the ego. And keep choosing that. You don't have to cultivate it. There's no effort in it. You don't need to water it. You just need to be yourself. And energy follows awareness. And this new self that starts to get its feet, weans itself off of mother's milk, starts to eat its own meals, choosing its trusting self, putting itself out there on YouTube, speaking up when it is so afraid as it's never done before, standing up for the self in fear of the other person rejecting them, and rejection, all rejection cuts. It makes you cower. That's the discipleship we want you to see. We want you to see the absolute piercing, the absolute stabbing, cutting yourself like a fillet, seeing that emotion just tear open and pour out of you, and do nothing about it. Let it flow through you. Become a sieve. Let it pass through you. The emotions are wild. You will be the full extent of your rage, of your hate, of your buckling fear. You might fall down and cry and scream, and you'll want to take action to fix it. But observe that self from the child growing up. The new infant that says, I see, and if I choose, I remain. But if I am diligent and I am allowance, and I feel and live my pain of acceptance, for it is my creation, my belief, I own it as my truth, then I shall transcend it. And then I know me. And it doesn't become about tomorrow's bills. You're never going to think about what to eat. There's no more plans. You just start being. You can ask your funny little honey, what do you want to eat? But see, it's already made. You're just playing time as an experience to something that's already been done. So you really never need to ask, because there's a reality that both of you are eating with a cooked meal, with a delivered meal. You guys still eat, right? Okay. So you arrive at the moment already. If you start journeying in the now, you will be most surprised on how it arrives. It doesn't come out of thin air. You don't jump from one second to another and poof, you're all of a sudden, everything is done. That's escapism, and that's trying to be an effortless God, puff the magic dragon, bewitch stuff out of thin air, magic stop. That's a different world. This is a manifestation of physicality, space-time continuum, and the idea. Think of claymation. Think of cartoons being drawn. Okay, stop going from one to the other, although it's there. And sometimes you do, because it's valued in the idea of now to now, with just giving the memory of the entire day going. So like it's 7 something o'clock here with Roxanne. She can remember probably 4 hours of her day. So the now creates those 4 hours, but the rest happen. She doesn't need to know how much of it or in what capacity, because it's not about the past and it's not about the future. It's about now. And when you start to focus on that, you'll start to get a hang of it. And it's difficult. So during Roxanne's evolution, we've discovered key things on how to transcend this experience through an experiencer instead of reading from some fucking ancient bullshit book full of diapers and leaves that you're supposed to eat and wear. And say these goddamn mantras until your fucking asshole can't pull anything out of it because you're only eating goddamn nothing. That's where this is not from. This is from a kingdom of discovered intelligence. So therefore it's transmutable instead of taught. The one thing we have discovered is the recognition. It takes humility and courage. When you feel emotion, you know you are recognizing your own created self, the ego. The kingdom that you choose expands outward in vibration, tells creation what you are interested in. And if you are interested in discovering the self, well, then everything is going to start to change. Diet, physical appearance, physical wants, physical needs. All of those things are no longer in the same relationship. They all start to fucking change. And the master, who is a totally 100% and every now surrendered to itself, doesn't bitch or scream about what's coming. It becomes it in its nakedness, because you cannot be extinguished from existence. Thank you, Roxanne. So what are you afraid of? Leaving the self that's valued. We know. So Roxanne has discovered emotion. She has motion. She still will rip your head off if you're one of her students. But she's not emotional. She's the moment. That's what you have to become at your best now, which will take some time. It's not happening fast enough. You gotta be noticeable of the expectation self, noticeable of the cringing self, the fearful self, the proud self, the envious self, the sloth self, the gluttonous self, the self that wants, needs, and desires outside of the now, and you have to be absolutely naked to those selves and take no action. Stop asking why. Stop putting the future into the now, full of fear, and you will see the enlightenment occur instead of just keep doing what you're doing. Because humans aren't very good at waking up because they don't have a desire to wake up. That's why they're doing that. This whole upheaval was not for the betterment of humanity. It was an offer for each singularity to see how they view the world. If you're polarized about the world, well, then you're a human. If you can see the polarization through the belief system that you created, well, then you're a divinicus. So it becomes a choice. There's no imbalance. You don't need amount of people to wake up. You don't need all of this stuff. That's just purpose and meaning on planet Earth and division, and it stays the same. Oh, sure, it gets a little bit lighter, 2,000, 3,000 years. Yay. I'm not interested in what the collective is happening. I'm interested in what you are. Because one creates all, doesn't it? And all creates one. So through her emotional status, and many students, Max, Lucia, Tammy, different students that have been with her on their journey has seen her change as she has seen the world and the students change. This is only potential. Don't look at this as anything but inside to be discovered. Don't put a label on this moment. Don't talk about it in the opposition. Recognize you are labeling this moment and see the discovery in yourself enlightened. And so you can look at that and say, that is what gives me my truth as the experiencer. But now I see it. I'm starting to know it. And therefore, as I become it, well, I transfigure it, which means I grow up. I mature. I evolve. And that piece is now known. It becomes the gestalt of me, not the expression. I cannot literally express negativity. I cannot literally express positive because it is now coalesced as a portion of me known. I have matured. I have grown up. I have evolved. Although you guys are still evolving, your whole self is getting every ounce of movement through you. And so are you. But this is an awakening from the fractal as part of the evolution. It is not mandatory. No one needs you. What, all of a sudden, if you fail, the entire creation fails? How fucking stuck up can you be? How fucking egoic do you actually matter in the idea of anything of purpose? Everybody else is their own self-creator, created forever. Without you, yay, but you're here. And so is everybody else. So don't victimize yourself as an identity and don't put yourself on a soapbox of purpose. See your belief systems that call the idea image to the forefront so you may know yourself as counted, as worthy, as mattering. When the simplicity of it is that the existence of yourself in self-evident now shows you you already matter because you're on experience side of things. You are, I am, are you not? Every memory contains you in the present. Every idea, every shower, every bathroom visit, every trip to the refrigerator, relaxation on the couch, hitting the remote, going on a drive, changing a tire, tending to the animals, there's always been a present. Have you not been always I am? And you're busy figuring it out. That's not figuring it out. That's creating a fractal. We don't figure it out. We don't manage reality. We become the now of discovery by surrender. I have no intention. Where am I going? When I'm always now, I am. Change is the only constant because now is ever flowing. What do I need to pursue that doesn't lie and fulfill my vibrational match every now? I know you can see that, but I've transcended that so I can't have the experience of measurement and valuing the unconditional now into a condition of good and bad, productive waste of time. Fears for the future, hopes for the futures based off the past. selling yourself a story that the world is going to be in peril, that this is all for the end of things, and it's all for a purpose, and it's greatness, and you putting all your attention, which creates reality, into the thrust of the ego. And you're wondering why it's going to stay the same. I got a question for you. The question now is, why now? Why 2020? Some frickin' guy said, well, about every 20 years, upheaval, SARS, and swine flu, and you guys have all the. No, no, no. This is the biggest one in vibrational history of the coalesced harmonic convergence, is what you guys call it. This is the biggest throw up. You guys literally upchucked on yourself. That's an old word, Roxanne. Upchuck, yeah. Why now? Well, because just one of you saw yourself. And it's not any particular one because we don't identify. One of the one of all saw themselves. And that offers light. And perceived light within offers change. And change offers evolution without effort, with mere acceptance. Fantastic. We wanted to draw attention to the world that you can have. And there's many of them. But when you think about the world that you can have, that you want to have, then you are staying in the world that you currently are having. Because that's the now created out of the vibration of the world that you seek that is not in the now. Effort works because the humans allow themselves to be effort. Work your way up the corporate ladder, do very good, get educated, retire, it's perfect. That's a great life, but that life is not permanent. No life is permanent. Life is changing. When you stop being the algorithm of life by recognizing it, you get new lives. Roxanne still lives in San Antonio, still lives in the apartment, but it's a completely new life for her. It's a new life. It's not an idea of the new definitions, although the flute is new, or sign language is new, or Spanish is now taking on hold in herself, is new. Cooking is new in time, 7, 8, 9 months, right? They're new as the discovery, but they're not defined. Leave them out there undefined and let them come. Let the world show you what you can have. And it's not things. It's the discovered relationship with your own vibrational match. The one that fulfills the emptiness without cause, meaning, or purpose. It has become coalesced as a part of the moment. That every ounce of the bubble of now, you know every single vibration within the gestalt of you as each vibration knows themselves in the moment. And harmony, coalescing, perfection, always and ever shall occur now. But in that, you seek outside of that to find the value. And the value is polarized. So that's why you get great pain, perfect pain, and great joys, perfect joys. Great hope and absolutely severe disappointment. Huge expectations followed by rage of failure, fear to the heightened sense to where it makes you almost shit your pants, your stomach, sweat. We're not half-ass creators. You guys don't want to go into them, but I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking about the yous that showed up in this room that have chosen a certain particular amounts of selves to arrive at a moment of attraction. You don't have to handle this or manage this, and this isn't a purpose or a cause or a calling. It's a goddamn choice. No one gives a shit what you do with it, because every choice is an unknowable evolution of I am. So it doesn't matter what you choose, because I am only going to get better. I'm only going to evolve. I'm always going to be more than I am. And I have forever to do it. That's why I'm not in a rush. Roxanne's mind comes up with ideas, and she's used those ideas to discover the idea doesn't need to be an idea any longer. But that's the process of weaning yourself off of ideas and temperaments and goals, things to do, ideas in the future. And you keep doing those things. You keep experiencing your choices. But if you are reverent and observe yourself, revere yourself as the disciple of Ascension, the mastery discovered within, not to be imaged or proud or badged. And you see that self in the moment, and as soon as you start to experience it, you become the honest, brutally honest self, and be honest with yourself with the choice you have made. Now, you're going to feel guilty and maybe even dumb for doing something you know you shouldn't have done. But see, that was the other self that chose it, not you. See, all of those things we talk about, those selves, what are they really? They're expressions. They're not identities. So when we talk consciousness takes you and makes you into a self, we literally mean that. But they're not identified as you. They don't take on the same slant as you. They are just taking what you have offered and experiencing them and expressing it in a sequential moment now. So it doesn't really matter what you choose. If you can see it though, you're in for a ride. Roxanne's mastered the idea. She has. But a lot of people don't want to hear it. They want to fight for themselves. And she lets them. Because she's not interested, because she doesn't have a purpose. But if someone comes in and wants to know how to tear down their own goddamn kingdom, the one they've been envying since they got to the planet as the reason of their own existence, well, then she can do that. But it's a hell of a ride. Hold on to something, lady. We going for a ride. True that. It's a fucking bitch, Roxanne says. It hurts. She hurt other people, she felt. She hurt herself. She always measured and judged the way she acted and reacted. But see, isn't that the game? Aren't you guys just reflectors of Roxanne, and everything that is in your life a reflector of self-evident, of realization, seeing yourself? That self is the idea of recognition as your dad's truth, as your mother's truth, as your spouse's truth. as your child's truth? A portion of you you have brought in as a valid self to be expressed, to be harbored, to be nurtured, to be identified so you may know yourself outside of yourself, the experience of the fractal? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So, what time is it, Roxanne? We have a little time. We want to talk about the edge now, and then we can take some questions after Roxanne goes TT. Let me talk about the edge. As you grow into the now, your now becomes larger. When you are conditioned, you only condition value. When you no longer value, you get the awareness of many nows. And the ones that are most bright to you are your highest match, not highest potential, not for the good of you. So Roxanne knows and trusted creating these classes, which is a new self being discovered. And that self is going to be known in time, and she knows the time it's going to be. She knows when she's going to meet this new self that lies in the now. But in time, she's journeying to get to that self. And that self will tell her story. That's the edge. She looks and wonders how. She loves her students. But one day, the students will be adults. And she will passion students no more. For the vibration is among many. And the light is bright enough for all to participate without the idea. So she will move into a new way to create her world. She sees it, she feels it, she fears it. Not scary, but uncertain. Because the mind wants to know, but the trust allows. But she has awareness of it. And you guys will feel your expanded nows as you discover yourself. And your mind's going to want to hook it and grab it and pull it in. And it's going to want to hold it and bear it as a valuable destination because it feels better than what you feel like now. But if you discover yourself and as you transcend the nows, then you will never feel any better ever than how you feel in the now. And that ceases pursuit of happiness because happiness has been discovered, the state of being. So your nows will become noticeable, expanded. So she knows there's a new path and she's excited and it's coming. And she'll do nothing about it because it's already happening. She's now and it comes. That's how easy it is. All right. We'll answer some questions in a spell. Let Miss Roxanne get a little bit of walk and stretch. This little physical body idea. See you in a few.